My question for the Q&A pod is actually a team of the season question. I'd like to see your team of the season, but with a couple of caveats. You cannot pick any player from Bayern or Dortmund, and you can only pick one player per team. Here's my team. Might be a little bit forced with Füllkrug and Kunku and Randal Kolumuani all in the same time, but we'll just outscore the opposition every game. So his team is Riemann, Frimpong, Knoche, Ginter, Sosa, Hofmann, Stach, Skiri, Kolumuani, Füllkrug, and Nkunku. But, Raphael, who's in your team? Who is in your very special 11 of the season?
So, this was difficult, more difficult than it sounds, because not just no Bayern and Dortmund players, but only one player from every side. So you can't just stock up on Leipzig and Leverkusen players, and you're forced to go a little bit deeper down the table. Maybe we'll take it turn by turn. Who do you have in goal, Christoph?
In goal, I have Mark Flecken from Freiburg, who will be joining Brentford next season. I think he was outstanding in goal, probably even the best goalkeeper together with Gregor Kobel from Borussia Dortmund. And on the bench, so my second option is Frederic Renaud from Union Berlin, who also played a fantastic season. And although he is a kind of goalkeeper that is unheralded because, he isn't. In his game, there's nothing spectacular. But that's also true for Mark Flecken. So both very rounded goalkeepers that played a fantastic season for two of the most sensational teams of the season. But who's in goal with the, at your team?
I've got Rafael Gikiewicz in goal. Yeah. I don't want to say because I needed an Augsburg player, but that did play a role in the decision-making. But perhaps more importantly, because I needed another Freiburg player in my 11 in the centre-back positions, and that was Matthias Ginter. That's why I couldn't take Flecken in goal. Who's your... Okay, I'll tell you my two centre-back pairings. It's Matthias Ginter and Mickey van der Veen from Wolfsburg.
And mine is also Mickey van der Veen from Wolfsburg and Robin Knoche from Union Berlin. I was a bit tempted to choose Geraldo Becker from Union because he was also outstanding this season. And as we say in German, so another expression of learning Fußballdeutsch.
Learning Fußballdeutsch with beer and honey.
The so-called Unterschiedsspieler, the player who makes the difference. But also Robin Knoche was an Unterschiedsspieler for Union, one of the backbones of the defense, and Mickey van der Veen. No surprise that a lot of international top clubs are now interested in buying him, probably already this summer.
Yeah, absolutely. I realized, Christoph, that there's a real problem finding right backs. There seem to be good left backs in the league. I had like a whole short list of left backs I could have put in, but right backs was really, really hard, unless you play three at the back. I don't know what your formation is, but I'm playing with four, old school. So on the left, I've got Anthony Cassi from Mainz. And on the right, I have Benno Schmitz of Köln.
Okay. I have in my, I think I tweaked it a bit, but I have Jeremy Frimpong and Jonas Hector in my team. And I think Frimpong was probably the best player from Leverkusen. Later on, Florian Wirtz was coming in, but when you look over the whole season, he was outstanding. And Jonas Hector, we have been talking about him when we talked about his at the end of his career. I think he was still probably not the spectacularly best player for Cologne. We could have mentioned Skiri, for example, in midfield and others, but I think he was the most important, most influential player for the team. So therefore, I have Jonas Hector in my team.
Yeah, some people might call it a political choice.
Okay, why?
Or choice for the narrative. But yeah, I can understand why you picked him. Okay, for midfield, I'm playing an old school diamond formation, and I have not so much a diamond. I have a 2-2-2-2 formation, not so old school. In fact, quite progressive. I give you my 4 players. Up front, the 2 more attacking players, Florian Wirtz and Daichi Kamada, and behind them, Rani Khedira and Konrad Laimer.
Okay, great choice. So that means you left out Nkunku because you had Konrad Laimer in. That's interesting. I went for a 4-3-3 formation, and a bit like Pete suggested, putting up a lot of spectacular players up front and hope the midfield and the defense can protect them. So in my 3-man midfield, and I would have doubts if it actually would work, but let's see. I have Anthony Lucia from Bochum. I mean, that is partly for sentimental reasons, but partly also because he was the most important player for this Bochum team this season, helping them to stay in the Bundesliga, being a 37-year-old captain of the team, and being the man who kept the team together. I had the chance to talk to Thomas Letsch the other week, and I was talking to him, and he was saying, I'm not such a big fan of talking about the most important player and so on, because every player is important. But in this case, he said that, he would go for Anthony Lucia as his MVP for the season. Vaturo Endo is also there. I think he was just amazing in this Stuttgart team that had a very difficult season. And my 3rd man in midfield is Jonas Hoffmann from Borussia Mönchengladbach. Maybe the only player who played a real good season for this team that were the, I don't know, underachiever or whatever. But probably the biggest disappointment, or the team that frustrated their supporters most. So Jonas Hoffmann, Anthony Lucia, and Vaturo Endo.
Yeah, see, I had Endo as well, but I needed a Stuttgart player up front. Because I didn't have Nkunku up front. So it's just this domino effect. I have Girassi and Füllkrug up front, which I think in real life would make for an amazing partnership.
I told you I have 3 up front, and I would say that your formation actually would work better than mine, because I have my doubts how Christopher Nkunku, Randal Kolo Muani, and Niklas Füllkrug would actually play together. I mean, they are all great players, so probably they would find a way. Maybe it could be a formation with. Kolo Muani is very good in setting up chances for others. So he is not this kind of traditional number 9, I think we would give this role to Füllkrug, and then we would have Kolo Muani and Nkunku play around him, and I think that would make probably that would be a very impressive front line for any opponent.
Yeah, a lot of firepower there. So let's just recap to remind the listeners. So my 11 of the year, minus Dortmund, minus Bayern, is Rafael Gikiewicz, Benno Schmidt, Matthias Ginter, Mickey van der Veen, Anthony Cassi, Daichi Kamada, Rani Khedira, Conny Leimer, Florian Wirtz, and Seru Gerassi and Niklas Füllkrug.
So, and my team is Flecken in goal, Frimpong, Van der Veen, Knoche, Hector, the 4 in the back, Lucia, Endo und Hoffmann in midfield, and Füllkrug, Kolo Muani and Nkunku up front.